السلام حبيبي حالك تمام الحمد لله. Are you going to be the ISNA?
Yes, inshallah.
We'll see you there.
Inshallah, I wanted to be of service if you need any help, anything at all.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Inshallah.
طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رحمة المهداة والنعمة المزان وعلاه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. Imam Al-Ghazali rahimahullah now talks about the second categories or second branch of the disclosing our action and whether that to consider riya or not. And in this portion, he talks about talking about the action after it take place. Remember that we said a person will do something publicly so people can be able to follow them and to see the examples that the person have set. And he talks about the importance of balancing disclosing actions and concealing it. Depends of the state of the heart of the person, and also depends of what is more beneficial at the time to disclose it or to conceal it. Now Imam Ghazali talks about what a person might do after finish the good deeds that they have done. Can they talk about it after they finish it? قال القسم الثاني أن يتحدث بما فعله بعد الفراغ. That the person talks about what they have done after they finish doing it. قال وحكم حكم إظهار العمل نفسه. That the ruling pertain to this, or the ruling regarding this aspect of talking about the deeds after being done, same of disclosing the action itself. والخطر في هذا أشد, but the danger on this is greater. لأن مؤونة النطق خفيفة على اللسان. He said, because this aspect of it is easy to be done, a person easy to talk about how much they have done anything of good deeds and so forth. وقد تجري في الحكاية زيادة ومبالغة. He said sometimes the people exaggerate. That they say even when they convey what they have done, they may exaggerate to impress people. وللنفس لذة في إظهار الدعاوى عظيمة. He said, and human being by nature, they love to claim things. إلا أنه لو تطرق إليه الرياء لم يؤثر في إفساد العبادة الماضية بعد الفراغ منها. They differentiate between at the time you have done the ibadah, the act of worship, and there was no riya on it, and then a person talks about it and maybe showing off, it does not impact the action at the time take place, because when you took it, action have taken place with sincerity. These two separate things, he said. فهو من هذا الوجه يهون, he said, from in this regard, is less dangerous than showing off during the action itself. والحكم فيه, then he said, what the ruling on this? أن من قوي قلبه وتم إخلاصه وصغر الناس في عينه واستوى عنده مدحهم وذمهم وذكر ذلك عند من يرجو الاقتداء به والرغبة في الخير بسببه فهو جائز. He said, for a person their heart is strong, they're sincere, they complete sincere in their action, and he doesn't care about the people approving or disapproving, and is equal in his eyes whether they praise him or blame him. And he mentioned that with the hope that people will follow them in their actions and become more keen to do these good deeds, or become interested in doing the good deeds because of their action. If that's the case, it's permissible. فهو جائز. Not only that, he said, maybe preferable, بل هو مندوب. إليه إن صفت النية. He said, become even preferable is the niyyah become pure. وسلمت عن جميع الآفات. If the niyyah is pure, intact, and does not have any of the disease of showing off, if the niyyah is good, it may be preferable that a person does something in public to encourage people. For example, we talked about if somebody were to ask one of us, he says, what do you think about this masjid or this school? Should I donate money to it or not? And the person says, yes, you should. And by the way, I donated money to it. That does not constitute riyah, because you're encouraging him to tell him, I'm not telling you just do it. I'm telling you I trust the project, and that's why I'm suggesting for you to give, because myself, I've done it. That's not a showing off. We're encouraging a person to do so. لأنه ترغيب في الخير. You encouraging people to do good. والترغيب في الخير خير. Encouraging people to do good is good. And this, by the way, is a lot among peers. That if somebody said to the other person, do you want to give you a right for Fajr prayer? I found it to be easy. 5 minutes drive. I can call you. We can go together. That's not showing off. This is good that the person have said that they do it themselves and encouraging to do so. That's why they said that one of the ni'mah of Allah for anyone is to give them good friend that remind them to do good things, and they encourage them to do good things and help them to do good things. And he gave an example. He said, وَقَدْ نُقِلَ مِثْلُ ذَلِكَ عَنْ جَمَاعَةٍ مِنَ السَّلَفِ الْأَقْوِيَاءِ. He said, this has been reported that some of the companions have said so. They talked about what they have done to encourage people. قال سعد بن معاذ ما صليت صلاة منذ أسلمت فحدثت نفسي بغيرها. سبحان الله. Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, he said, he have not prayed a prayer since he became a Muslim, and he will not have his heart into it, that he will get distracted by something other than the salah. ولا تبعت جنازة فحدثت نفسي بغير ما هي قائلة وما هو مقول لها. He said, I have not followed janazah without me concentrating what this janazah, what this person who passed away, you're going to say to Allah, and what the angel is going to say to him, what he going to say to the angels. The questioning. وما سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول قولا قط إلا علمت أنه حق. And I have not heard Rasulullah sallam, any time I heard Rasulullah sallam, I believed completely and absolutely he spoke the truth. وقال عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه ما أبالي أصبحت على عسر أو على يسر لأني لا أدري أيهما خير لي. He said, I don't care whether my day starts with difficulty or ease, because I don't know which one may be good for me. وقال ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه said ما أصبحت على حال وتمنيت أن أكون على غيرها. He said, there's no time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have me in a condition. He's talking about a condition it doesn't have ability to change. Something happened. فَتَمَنَّيْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ عَلَى غَيْرِهَا, and I was wish to be in the better situation. Meaning, what he says is that he accepting what Allah decree upon him. And so forth, many other examples. The other, saying is of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, rahimahullah ta'ala, رضي الله عنه قال ما قضى الله لي بقضاء قط فسرني أن يكون قضى لي بغيره وما أصبح لي هوى إلا في مواقع قدر الله. He said, I have not been in the situation Allah decreed something upon me, and I wish if He have decreed something else. Never have done that. وما أصبح لي هوى. He said, I have not desired anything except what Allah wants from me. They're not showing off. They're encouraging people. And there's also the Imam Ali, radiallahu anhu, which we used to say to the dunya, deceive other than me, deceive other غُرِّ غَيْرِ. And he said that he جاهد الصلاة, he struggled with the salah to have khushu'. فهذا كله إظهار لأحوال شريفة. I skipped some of the writing here because I gave you just a general idea of the evidence of that. قال فهذا كله إظهار لأحوال شريفة وفي غاية المراء إذا صدرت ممن يرائي بها. He said all of this is that people are showing different conditions, wonderful conditions of their heart, and in it is really can be interpreted as showing off. If it was not coming from the sincere people, it comes from a person showing off, it will be really a display of greatness, of great showing off. وفي غاية الترغيب إذا صدرت من يقتدى به. But the opposite is correct. It is the amazing method of encouraging people to do good for those people whom people might look up to them. وذلك على قصد الاقتداء جائز للأقوياء بالشروط التي ذكرناها. He said this is therefore it's with the intention of having people to follow the steps of people who are doing good. It is permissible as long as it fulfills the condition that we mentioned. ولا ينبغي أن يسد باب إظهار الأعمال والطباع مجبولة على حب التشبه والاقتداء، بل إظهار المراء للعبادة إذا لم يعلم الناس أنه رياء فيه خير كثير للناس ولكنه شر للمراء. وكم من مخلص كان سبب إخلاص الاقتداء به مخلص كان سبب إخلاص الاقتداء بمن هو مراء عند الله تعالى. Subhanallah. He says something very important here. He says, if we don't have people do something in public that people can see as a good deeds, then the idea of setting an example and model will be diminished. And therefore, Imam Ghazali is saying, although this matter of struggling with sincerity on it, a person should seek to be sincere, but if encouraging people to do good, you should do that so that we multiply, have ripple effect. Imagine, when giving sadaqah, no one knows other people have given. It might discourage them. Therefore, motivating people of giving, it has great impact on improving the condition of society and softening people's heart. There are certain actions we said before, there's no way they can conceal it. Come to Salat al-Fajr, for example. How you can conceal that? People see you coming to Fajr. Coming to Jum'ah. You are in Hajj. You and I together. In Arafah. People, I see you in Arafah, you see me in Arafah. Then the matter of the heart. For certain actions, the display of them is unavoidable to begin with. And there's certain actions, which is the action of the heart. A'mal al-qulub. Sometimes, if you ask me, for example, what the dhikr that softens your heart the most? And I said, La ilaha illallah. If I said that, with the sincerity to maybe encourage you to do so. If I told you that the best word of the Quran you can repeat so many times is Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Ikhlas when you drive your car. Because I feel the impact of the mind. That's not with the intention to show off. It's sincerity to tell you that try this. But the person has to be careful to check their heart to say that I don't want people to follow me in good deeds and then my good deeds not being accepted. Because he made a point. He said, how many people have followed someone, maybe he's showing off. Maybe he's done this for the wrong reason. But people benefit from that person and they become good Muslims because of that. Therefore, he said, do not diminish the importance of displaying the good deeds, but we're going to ask the person who have done it to seek sincerity and to have ikhlas. Something very interesting he mentioned here that I'm going to share with you, and then I tell you the impact of people sometimes, good people with good intention, do things, prevent good things happen to the community. He says, رحمه الله, وقد روي أنه كان يجتاز الإنسان في سكك البصرة عند الصبح فيسمع أصوات المصلين بالقرآن من البيوت، وصنف بعضهم كتابا في دقائق الرياء وتركوا ذلك وترك الناس الرغبة فيه وكانوا يقولون ليت ذلك الكتاب لم يصنف. Well, he says, if you were walking in the street of Basra in Iraq after Fajr, you will hear the voices, the sound of the Quran come from people's home. Beautiful recitation come from different homes. A man went and wrote a book saying this is not good, he's showing off. He said, دقائق الرياء. He said about hidden riya. What happened to people when he wrote the book? What happened? People stopped. And he said, people said, wish this man did not write that book. He stopped something good. Sometimes people with the best intention, with little knowledge, they do a lot of damage. For example, if somebody says, don't allow young people to read the Salah in Ramadan, like some people said to me, the young Huffaz, 13, 14, don't let them read the Salah. If you have listened to them, they will discourage the Huffaz. For a person doesn't know that there's certain advice being given by people based on what they think is right and has greater consequences. Negative consequences. Negative consequences. Like people giving advice of whether, isolating women in the masjid. They come from a school of thought that maybe they believe this is true, but the negative consequences of the women stopping coming to the masjid. And the Rasul said, لا تمنعوا إماء الله مساجد الله. Do not stop women from coming to the masjid. Therefore, that we have to be careful of people doing things that lead to stopping greater good in society. فإظهار المراء فيه خير كثير لغيره إذا لم يعرف رياءه. He said, even the person showing off, showing good deeds, there's a lot of goodness can come to other people if a person don't know that he's showing off. فإن الله يؤيد هذا الدين برجل الفاجر وبقوم لا خلق لهم كما ورد في الأخبار وبعض المرائين يقتدى بهم منهم. He said there's certain people that may not be good, righteous people, individual, upright individuals, but Allah bring a lot of goodness through them to the religion. And there's many people like that. Now, any question about what you just said, because we're going to start a new aspect of the book. Any question? Any question about this? Now, the second aspect today we're going to touch on بيان الرخصة في كتمان الذنوب وكراهية اطلاع الناس عليها وكراهية ذمهم له. Now, وكراهية ذمهم له. Now he talks about good deeds. Now he talks about bad deeds. Is it how good it is to conceal your sin? في كتمان الذنوب. وكراهية اطلاع الناس عليها, and a person doesn't like people to know that they have committed the sin. وكراهية ذمهم له, is it okay to have a person concentrate on what people are going to say about my sin? Is that okay? He said, اعلم, you must know, أن الأصل في الإخلاص استواء السريرة والعلانية. Very important statement. He said, you must know the essence of sincerity is the being equal to disclose or declare, that when private and public become the same, inward, outward of a person become the same. كما قال عمر رضي الله عنه لرجل عليك بعمل العلانية. He said, Umar رضي الله عنه said to a man, concentrate on the action of public action. Action in public. قال يا أمير المؤمنين ما عمل العلانية. He said, what is the action in public? قال إذا ما اطلع عليك لم تستحي منه. The action that if people come to know that you have done, you will not feel shame. وقال أبو مسلم الخولاني ما عملت عملا أبالي أن يطلع الناس عليه إلا يعني أهلي البول والغائط. He says, I have not done, Muslim al-Khawlani, he said, I have not done any actions that I care about people knowing that I have done it, except my private life with my family and going to the bathroom. That's the only time that I don't want people to know anything about that, but anything else that I don't care if people come to know I have done it or not. إلا أن هذه درجة عظيمة لا ينالها كل أحد. He said, but this is a level of decree that not everyone will be able to do it. He says, لا ينالها كل أحد ولا يخلو الإنسان عن ذنوب بقلبه. He said that no human being would be free from sins that are committed by their heart أو بجوارحه or his limbs وهو يخفيها ويكره اطلاع الناس عليها. Imam Ghazali, very practical man, he said this man have said this, but the fact that there's no human being, their hearts does not sometimes commit sins, ذنوب القلوب, or the limbs commit the sin, that doesn't want people to know it. There's no, he said, majority of people talk, we're not talking including prophets. لا سيما ما تختلج به الخواطر من الشهوات والأماني. One of the scholars actually said, if Allah would disclose what people thought and thinking comes in, it would be people would be in trouble. Imagine everyone sitting in any social gathering, their forehead become like this line on TV. What do you call that? Huh? The caption. Imagine if you're sitting and it says, write down in the forehead, what are you thinking? No one will be able to socialize. No one will be able to sit in any place. Huh? If that's become disclosed. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala conceal those things. He says, لا سيما ما يختلج به الخواطر في الشهوات والأماني. He said that some people sometimes with desires and wish, the wishing that somebody wish something that's not good, but doesn't do it. What happened is not considered a sin until they act upon it. في الشهوات والأماني. والله مطلع على جميع ذلك. Allah sees all of that. فإرادة العبد لإخفائه عن العبيد ربما يظن أنه رياء محظور وليس كذلك. He said there's somebody might say concealing the sin. This is very dangerous, by the way, very dangerous notion. Shaitan comes to you and says, you're a hypocrite. You're thinking that way, but you're not telling anyone. Allah knows what you're thinking. Then you want to make it public, write a book, post, make it public. No. If you're thinking of something negative, something not good, don't have a post about it in Facebook. Don't tweet about it. Keep it to yourself. Say astaghfirullah. Even if it's a problem being persistent with you for a while or with us, do not make it public. Because that's exactly what Shaitan wanted to do. Shaitan said, just declare it. Why are you hiding? Come out and tell people they're doing this. Come out. Shaitan push you. You see, there's a level of sin. I call them the stage of sin, evolution of sin. a person have a little bit of taqwa in their heart and iman in their heart, they don't like the sin to be known. They want to conceal it. And fearing people or feeling shame, it's still there's some goodness in their heart. Because they don't consider this sin is something that they need to brag about. But the shaitan comes to you and says, you are so hypocritical. You cannot have this sin, even this sin in private, or you're talking about it, or you think about it and not talking about it. Just tell people how, be open. Be open. Shaitan said, be open about it. You know, don't double faces. You know, relieve this burden of you concealing the sin. Relieve yourself from the burden. Then you go and take a microphone and say, I'm doing this. I'm out. I'm not hiding it anymore. From concealing it, then talk about it publicly. And then Shaitan says, do not only talk about what you do in private, but display it. They're called mujahir bil-ithm, mujahir bil-ithm. A person who's become very open with their sins, called mujahir bil-ithm. Then he says, do it publicly. Not only say, don't talk about that you're doing it, but do it, display it publicly. Now you pass another, boundary. And Shaitan comes and says, no, that's not enough. If you think it's pleasurable, if you're enjoying it, why deprive other people from it? They should promote it. Then a person starts promoting the sin. But that's not enough. Shaitan says, no. That is not enough because you need to shame people who are not doing it. And that is the further a person can go with the sin. See the steps? He's telling you, he said, a person does not pray. And it was sometimes when in public he prays and so forth, and he doesn't believe that it's a good thing not to pray. Then Shaitan comes and says, don't be hypocritical. Then people ask you to pray or not. I said, I want to be honest, I don't pray. I don't feel like praying. Okay? Then Shaitan comes and says, no, go to the place where people are praying and sit there, don't pray. Publicly show that people are not praying, protesting. Now, then Shaitan says, tell people prayer is not good. Wasting of time. Start telling people, you find a friend who's praying, convince them not to pray. Then Shaitan comes and says, tell people who pray that you try to be holier than thou. Shame on you. Stop this nonsense. You know? Don't follow the mullahs. Don't follow this and that. Therefore, not now become aggressive. Or it does not invite people to their parties who prays. They will feel embarrassed. Well, I'm not going to do this. Therefore, I'm going to cut you off from my social circles if you insist on prayer. That kind of aggressiveness of Shaitan make a person become aggressive and become a tool of Shaitan. He says, وليس كذلك بل المحظور أن يستر ذلك ليرى الناس أنه ورع وأنه خايف من الله تعالى وأنه ليس كذلك فهذا ستر المرائي. That he said what is not permissible, a person display that they are pious, but they are not. Therefore, what is not permissible is to pretend to be something that you are not. But if you're concealing your sin, that's different from a person claim that they are righteous. وأما الصادق الذي لا يرائي فله ستر المعاصي ويصح قصده فيه ويصح اهتمامه بإطلاع الناس عليه من 8 أوجه. Allah said a person who is sincere does not show off. He should conceal their sins and make the intention to conceal it. And it is also is good to have him to or her to feel bad by people knowing that they have committed a sin. And there's 8 reasons. الأول, the first, وأن يفرح بستر الله عليه. A person become happy that Allah concealed their sin. وإذا افتضح اهتم بهتك الله ستره. And if being that person, now people come to know that they commit a sin, they become sad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala disclosed what they're doing. وَخَافَ أَن يَهْتِكَ سِتْرَهُ فِي الْقِيَامَةِ. And the person was worried about Allah disclosing his sin in the day of judgment. إذا ورد في الخبر إن من ستره الله عليه في الدنيا ذنبا ستره عليه في الآخرة. Whoever Allah conceal the sin of someone in this life, Allah will conceal it for them in the day of judgment. That's if they make tawbah. وهذا غم ينشأ من قوة الإيمان. Why a person become upset that the sin being known? Because maybe their faith, their iman is good. Very interesting. The man that have done a sin, drinking, and being brought before Rasulullah 50 times, have addiction. 50 times. And the Sahaba, one of the Sahaba said to him, La'natullahi alayk. My curse of Allah be upon you. Rasulullah said, don't curse this man. لا تلعنه فإنه يحب الله ورسوله. This man loves Allah and his messenger. Ya Allah. Major sin. One of the kaba'ir. Rasulullah said, don't curse him. He loves Allah and his messenger. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That this man have iman, been struggling with the sin. That's why Imam Al-Ghazali here says, rahimahullah, this man still have the power of faith, iman within them. The second, أنه قد علم أن الله تعالى يكره ظهور المعاصي ويحب سترها كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم من ارتكب هذه القاذورات شيئا من هذا القول فليستتر بستر الله. Imam Malik reported the hadith that Rasulullah said, whoever committed one of those sins, let him conceal their sin and take the cover that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put upon them. And he said, therefore, Imam Ghazali, that that person knows that Allah does not like displaying of ma'asi. Trust me, if society today believe that he should conceal sin, the sin will not have a spread in society. The problem, the sins have website. The sin have YouTube channel. The sin have Instagram. The sin have a Twitter account. TikTok. The sin being promoted is all over the place. If you just follow this, we'll have less children struggling in public school. يكره ظهور المعاصي, that a person does not like the display of the sin, and he wants Allah to conceal it. فهو إن عصى الله بالذنب لم يخلق قلبه من محبة ما حبه الله. Allah. That's what I told you earlier. That even a person have committed a sin, his heart does not become empty of the love of Allah. وهذا ينشأ من قوة الإيمان بكراهة الله ظهور المعاصي. That if a person come to believe that Allah does not like the sin to be displayed, is a sign of the strength of faith. وأثر الصدق فيه أن يكره ظهور الذنب من غيره أيضا ويقتم بسببه. And also he said the sign of the sincerity of this person, he does not like other people to display their sin. Not like, you see, when shame is gone from society, pray Salat al-Janazah on the society. صلي عليه أربعا كبر عليه أربعا. Seriously, when the shame no longer, there's no shame of sins, there's a problem. الثالث أن يكره ذم الناس له به من حيث أن ذلك يغمه ويشغل قلبه وعقله عن طاعة الله تعالى، وأن الطبع يتأذى بالذم ينازع العقل ويشغل عن الطاعة، وبهذه العلة أيضا ينبغي أن يكره الحمد الذي يشغله عن ذكر الله ويستغرق قلبه ويصرف عنه الذكر، وهذا أيضا من قوة الإيمان إذا صدق الرغبة في فراغ القلب لأجل الطاعة من الدين. He said also, then the person become worried about responding to people, the rumors. He said, why I put myself in the situation that people start talking about me, and therefore I want to concentrate on the good things I'm doing and to conceal that sin. He said that's also is a good thing, because sometimes people have addiction and they're struggling with it. الرابع أن يكره ستره ورغبته فيه لكراهته لذم الناس من حيث يتأذى طبعه، فإن الذم مؤلم للقلب كما أن الضرب مؤلم للبدن، وخوف تألم القلب بالذم ليس بحرام ولا للإنسان ولا الإنسان به عاصٍ. He said then the number 4, that his concealing of the sin and his desire of concealing it, because he doesn't want people to blame him. And if they blame him or attack him, speak ill of him, it will hurt his heart. But he says, if his heart can have that feeling, his heart is still alive. وخوف تألم القلب بالذنب ليس بحرام. He said, if you fear that the people attacking you and you feel the pain of being attacked, that is good. Or الإنسان is not considered he committed a sin because he worried about people talking about you. وإنما يحصى إذا جزعت نفسه من ذم الناس ودعته إلى ما لا يجوز حذرا من ذمهم، ولذا يجب عليه الإنسان أن لا يهتم بذم الخلق ولا يتألم به. He said the problem here, that if he become worried or people attacking him, and if the people didn't attack him, he will have done it. That is not good. He said, if ever, sometimes if you're around wrong people, you might say, by the way, I committed sin, and they laugh. They say, oh, I thought you're going to get upset with me. Hey, we're not going to get upset. We're cool. You're a cool guy. You're a cool lady. That's all. I'm so relieved. That's a problem. If they feel relieved, that people say, oh, don't worry about it. Huh? Or me too. I was doing the same thing. That's a problem, because you're concerning only, it does not hurt you. It is not going to, you wanted their approval. That's a problem, you know. SubhanAllah. Then, بس قال كمال الصدق في أن تزول رؤيته للخلق فيستوى عنده ذمه ومدحه. But the complete sincerity is when a person does not care about people, and therefore blaming or praising has become the same, because a person comes to know that the harm comes from Allah and the benefit comes from Allah. الضار والنافع هو الله عز وجل. وأن العباد كلهم عاجزون. Every human being unable to do anything to us. وذلك قليل جدا. أكثر طباع تتألم بالذم. He said very few people have that. Many people, they concerned about being attacked, being blamed, and they want to be praised. نعم الأمر المذموم هو أن يهتم لفوائد المدح بالورع كما أنه يحب أن يحمد. He said, they said one of the things that is not good of people, like, okay, when is it not good for you to feel bad, people attacking you or blaming you? He said, if people do not praise you for something that you have not done. So, oh, I wish that they thought that I'm a righteous man. And if they don't think that I'm a righteous man, then I'm feeling like down. They may not have said that you're a bad person, but they didn't praise you. He said that is this is a sin because you wanted to be praised for something that, to disclose something or to be known of something that maybe not even have it. Okay. قال ويتصور أن يكون العبد بحيث لا يحب الحمد ولكن يكره الذم. That some people don't like to be praised, but they don't like to be criticized. فكم من صابر عن لذة الحمد لا يصبر على ألم الذم. He said, how many people have become patient and hold themselves back from people praising them. They didn't go to their head, but they fail when people criticize them. They fall apart. Therefore, you have to have the strength to fight the praise and to resist also feeling bad about people criticizing you. الخامس أن يكره الذم من حيث أن الذام قد عصى الله تعالى به وهذا من الإيمان وعلامته أن يكره ذمه لغيره أيضا. He said number 5, that a person does not like to be criticized or spoke ill of because he believed that the person who spoke ill of, they have committed a sin. And he wants them not to engage in such actions. Number 6, أن يستر ذلك كي لا يقصد بشر إذا عرف أن يستر ذلك كي لا يقصد بشر إذا عرف ذنبه وهذا وراء ألم الذنب. He said, say a person drink alcohol in a neighborhood, and people say they come to know that he drinks. And then what happened? All the people drinking in the neighborhood, they said, can we join you? We know that you drink Saturday night. Can we become part of it? You have any alcohol left in your home? Can I borrow beer from you? He said, now he will not become, he said, if he concealing the sin because he doesn't want to be the source of promoting it, that's good. He's struggling with the sin, but he doesn't want other people to come to say, can you help us? We know you're doing it. And he doesn't want people to know that because he doesn't want to be promoting. That's a good thing. Number 7, مجرد الحياء فإنه نوع ألم وراء ألم الذنب والقصد بالشر وهو خلق كريم. He said that some people, they just feeling shame. They don't worry about it, but they feel the shame, the haya, modesty. He says this is a good thing because Rasulullah said, الحياء كله خير. الحياء خير كله. That is good to have that kind of modesty and feel shame of the committed sin. وقال صلى الله عليه وسلم الحياء شعبة من الإيمان. Hadith. All of this, the first hadith, رواه مسلم second Bukhari, that feeling shy or modesty or shame is one of the branch of Iman. And many other hadith. Now, let us talk a little bit about the haya. There's a whole chapter actually in this book. Imam Ghazali talks about the importance of haya. Here, if we teach our children, let's talk about children. If we teach our children the concept of haya, that means that you do not display a sin and be happy with it. Have modesty. Don't look to haram. Don't sit in the place haram. Don't consume haram. And if a child conceals that from the parents, and the parents come to know the child have done wrong, and told them, they do not disclose that to other people. Correct the child between you and the child. Don't disclose it to others. لا تكسر الطفل. Don't break them. Very important. The same thing of one of your students. This happened, the reason I'm laughing because I remember my sheikh. One of the people who come attend halaqah with us, the sheikh passed by and this person smoking, but was hiding the smoke. The sheikh doesn't know he smoked. when he saw the sheikh, and he took the cigarette, and he held it. He hurt himself. He did this. That. And the sheikh saw him from far. He didn't know that he was smoking. He just gave him salam. And people come and told the sheikh. He said, subhanallah, he concealed, you have haya, which haya is good. Why are you displaying his sin to me? And then the sheikh saw the burn in his hand. And this guy quit smoking. Subhanallah. When that happened to him, he quit smoking. But the sheikh said, every person do something wrong or believe it is wrong, and they feel shame of it, there's a lot of goodness in them. Do not say to the person, we know. Why fear Allah? Don't fear me. Therefore smoke publicly. Or fear Allah, don't fear me. Drink publicly. No. As long as they're concealing it, encourage them and help them to repent. Help them to quit. Don't encourage them to be public, because this is an act of shaitan. Shaitan put that in our head to say, go ahead. Don't have two faces. What is this? You fearing me more than Allah? Just do it. The person said, okay. You said that? I'm doing it. Okay. You killed the haya on them. But okay. What if you walk in the street and you see a friend of yours doing something not right? If it's hurting somebody, then you have to stop them. If you're hurting somebody, stop them. But if you do something that a sin by themselves between them and Allah, don't disclose it. Give indirect nasiha. Unless a person saw you, you saw them, then you talk to them. But if that person have not seen you, seen them, don't shame them in public. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you don't know what triggered people of no longer feeling the shame of something. But you create a support system. You ask somebody else, you talk to the imam to say, can you, next Jum'ah, there's a friend of mine, you don't mention the name, he's coming and he or she is doing this, can you talk about it in the Jum'ah? Then the imam talk about it in the Jum'ah. Rasulullah, he knew that some of his companions have done something wrong. He know who they are. You know what he used to say in the minbar? ما بال أقوام يفعلون كذا وكذا. Why some people do this kind of things? He didn't mention the names of the people. He knows who they are. A man made hijrah not for Allah, for the wrong reason. Rasulullah said, Man kana hijratu lillahi wa rasulih. Whoever made hijrah for Allah and His Prophet, for hijrah, he did not say that somebody here among you did the wrong thing. ما كان يفضح. He never exposed people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay? Keep it. Unless a person does expose himself, but he himself will not keep it private. You know? And that's why, by the way, in Islam, it's prohibited to attack somebody's honor, to speak of somebody's honor, to say they have committed this sin or that sin, especially major sins, because it requires witnesses. They said that Umar said to them, what if Amir al-Mu'mineen have seen with his own eyes a man and a woman not doing the right thing publicly? You know what Imam Ali said to him? He said, if you mention the names, we're going to punish you. Imam Ali said to him, bring 3 witnesses with you. Do you have 3 witnesses? He said, no. He said, don't keep it. Don't mention the names. If you mention the name, we don't care if you are Amir al-Mu'mineen. We're going to apply punishment on you, that false accusation. Because Allah says so. When he said, I'm not going to say anything. Therefore, it's very important, the issue of haya, of concealing sins and so forth, is helpful for people to repent. We're getting ready for Maghrib. قل قولي هذا واستغفر لكم واستغفروه انه هو الغفور الرحيم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات تواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Yeah. Yeah. What time Maghrib? Okay, no, have 5. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, you mentioned this when you were talking about having hayya and not revealing your sins, etc., for the purposes of concealing them. We find sometimes that we have, whether that's sometimes converts that that speak in imams that might share what they've done in the past when they were not Muslim. Is there a difference in this regard in terms of that, or is it even permissible for those who may be in a position of wanting to educate somebody, like I've done something before, or should they hide and conceal their sin? And should those who are maybe reverts also not necessarily share the sin that they may have committed if they think it might be a source of encouragement for people to do the sin?
This is number 8. Good, you asked the question. No, but I'm going to mention it now. We're going to end the chapter with it. That he asked a very important questions. The question is this: if a person, say there's a support group of addiction, can you be in a support group that everybody is coming out of addiction, like group supports, or that displaying of sin? It's not. What if somebody talking to the youth and talking to them about how troubling it is to have bad friends and how much you get in trouble by having bad friends? That's not displaying the sin, displaying of the sins. Because encouraging people by telling them, do not do that. Like the people who talked about in Jahiliyyah, they ate their own God, or they have that is to say how bad it is to be in that state. That is not mujahara bil. But if, and this is if here, if a person commits sins, and they think that when they had those sins, they had fun, and they say, oh, in Jahiliyyah, I used to do this and that, and people laughing, and as if he's missing it. That's a problem. That's a problem, because you're not discouraging people. You're displaying the sins as if to say, I was very tough, I beat everybody, I would do this. You are not really regretting. You're just telling a story that is not supposed to be told. Unnecessary, vain talk. Yeah. You have 1 minute.
You mentioned about Umar bin Khattab said he's going to punish that person if he exposes.
No, Umar. Imam Ali said.
So, what is Islamic study about defamation? If somebody is exposing someone's...
If somebody talk about somebody's honor, and without 4 witnesses, that's called false accusation. There's a punishment on that. Qadhf. There's people now in WhatsApp and Facebook, all of them are sinners. Those who, not everyone who in Facebook, all are sinners, those who talk about people without witnessing. You don't pass information. This person is a thief. This person is not a good person. No evidence. You cannot attack people's honor with no evidence. You cannot speak ill of people with no evidence. And you don't forward information that you don't know about. That is haram. Haram, absolutely haram. No, if a person passes information, that's buhtan. Buhtan. Subhanakallah wa hamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. That's good.